Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast that, yes, we're still missing a co-host, but I hear he will be coming soon. He'll be joining us momentarily, of course, and we'll hear about all his fun exploits on his vacation. But of course, I am your host, Mr. K Asante, TK Asante, on all the places you want to find me. And today, I am joined by a special guest, the man I've been trying to get on this air for some time now. But of course, Saturdays are the day for the family, so of course I understand, But I've been on his show a few times. I'm excited to have him on this show, especially on this auspicious moment when Gamescom is just upon us, and he will be attending from the world of gaming, the man himself. Now, of course, I will first ask the question. I'll ask the question that Web Dave asked: is it Box and Bear or Box and Burger? What's going on, Boxenberger? How you doing?
Hey man, I'm so excited to be here. Sorry it took me so long, but yeah, like you said, it's in the afternoon. It's 4 p.m. now here in Germany, and that's usually on Saturday's family time. But I'm super excited to be here today. So, and yeah, to answer your question, it's Boxenberger. Yeah,
there you go.
Mr. Boomstick himself. Yeah, I blame him. He kind of pronounced it always like a box a bear. So I'm not boxing any bears, man.
Well done. Shout out to the Mr. Boomstick. We love Boomstick here, so much so that he will get the smoke when he deserves it. Very good. So for the rare few among us who may not be part of the your community or has not seen the stuff you do, because I know some of us work during the day, may not be able to see some of the stuff you do. I am lucky enough to work from home, so as I'm doing one of these, I'm like, have him on the background, so I'm always in the chat, always listening in. Tell the fine folks all the stuff the things they can find on your channel and the world of gaming, as it were.
Yeah. Well, I'm a content creator from Germany, but I do my channel in English, so apologies for the weird accent.
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely. You will not apologize for accents around here, sir. No, speak your truth, sir. Go ahead.
So yeah, I run a YouTube channel. You can find it Boxenberger, very easy, just like the name right here. And yeah, we have I do videos about gaming news, about technology that drives them and everything. And we host a podcast called The World of Gaming. Yeah, every Thursday. On YouTube and of course on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to listen, you can find The World of Gaming. And I host that with my good friend Wandering Dutch from the UK. And yeah, we try to bring usually a different perspective to the news and everything that's happening in gaming, because we are from Europe, and some things are just different, or sometimes our views on certain things are different here in Europe. And we have a blast every Thursday. You've been on there a couple of times, and we always have different guests, and it's usually a fun time. So yeah, that's what I'm doing and playing video games.
I think you're selling yourself short, sir. First and foremost, this man puts on an excellent show. A who's who of content creators and journalists have been on the show. And of course, no one will speak ill of the Wandering Dutch on these here streets. He helped us get started. He's one of the godfathers of these here gaming streets. So, as a co-host, you can find no better. I've always loved every time you guys are doing a show together. So if you haven't checked him out, absolutely add it to your rotation. It's great viewing when you're working from home. I can tell you that. So no,
thank you so much.
It's great to have you here, sir. It's awesome having you here. This is excellent. Oh, okay. So before we get started in earnest, though, let me catch up on a couple of super chats, and I see a lot of you great folks in here.
Absolutely.
I see Web Dave in here. Oh, before I even continue, I will say, to your point about being from Europe and having a different perspective, that is another key reason I had you on this show. Shout out to the man Ty Talks last week for being on this show. The man from Ireland, he's also a big console gamer, loves his games. He has some staunch criticism for various platforms, and people were like, hey, who is this man and what is he talking about? He's speaking from his neck of the woods. You may not be privy to the way things move in Ireland, so it's excellent to have someone like that on. to give his perspective, and you as well. This is what I love, having such a diverse cast, from international, to have people tell us how it is in their neck of the woods. There's no wrong or right answers. It's how you are seeing things from your perch. So it's excellent to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. So yes, and by the way,
Thanks
folks,
for having me.
Absolutely, you're gonna start, folks. You're gonna start seeing more of that. I want it to be a more of an international conversation, because gamers are everywhere, right? And I get to meet so many awesome people in so many different places, and how they pay for games, what games they play, what is their genres of choice, all of that. You know what I mean? And we love that stuff. So, and I see you, Enigmatic Dreams. I see you in there. No Everborn Saga. No. He will be here. I've actually just got off the phone with the man. He's just running a little late because the man just had a vacation, and jet lag is a thing and all of that. So shout out to him. He will make his appearance as the prima donnas do. He'll make himself seen soon enough. But no, let's catch up on some super chats real quick. First up, Mr. Joanna Dark, thank you for being here. $5 super chat. He says, Everborn finally admitted that Mario is greater than Sonic. When did he do that? I don't think I saw that. I want to see that put on Front Street if that happened. He says, poor John Wolf left with no knees after Everborn jumped ship. 62 days until I mount their knees. #switch. Jesus Christ. Okay, for those who don't watch this show often, he doesn't mean knees literally. No, but yes. So we have a nice gentleman's bet going on, right? Myself, John Wolf, and Mr. Everborn Saga. I say, even though we are in the renaissance of gaming greatness, and by gaming greatness I mean your 2.5D platformers, that being Sonic Superstars and Mario Wonder, right? I say when both juggernauts release, Elephant Tusk Mario will stomp on all competition, even Spider-Man 2. And these guys are saying see now the Spider-Man 2 part is me going out on a limb, right? They're saying they're saying Sonic Superstars will beat them, and I'm just like,
no way.
See,
I don't know about Spider-Man, but no way that Sonic is gonna beat Mario. No way.
I'm just saying. So and of course, Mr. Joanna Dark is on the right side of history, so he's keeping the boot on the neck for as long as it takes, and I appreciate that, Mr. Joanna Dark. Good job. And we have Sith Lord in here. Thank you for being here, Sith Lord, with a $5 super chat. He says, "Good morning. I'm making Boxenberger's favorite pizza." I will watch.
Oh no! No!
Safe travels to Gamescom. Looking forward to updates next week. Have fun. Now, please, are you telling me? Go ahead, tell the people what your favorite pizza is. Go ahead. At least what he's insinuating.
My favorite pizza is actually with salami and jalapenos. I love that, but I know he's referring to pineapple. He's referring to pineapple on pizza, which is disgusting. Yeah,
which is a Travis Shamocracy on man. No one should ever put such a dangerous combination together. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, sir. But okay, that is terrible. Where is your upbringing, people? What pineapple on pizza? Get out of here with all that. Next thing you know, they're gonna put peanut butter on pizza. Just like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like, come on now. What are you gonna do? But these are Americans after all. They put popcorn in their soup and stuff. It's just weird.
What can I say?
I'm being very weird right now. But all right. Let us move on and talk about what we're here to talk about. And of course, we start all things. We start with the games that we have been playing, and of course, sir, you are our guest, so I will ask you first. What games have been keeping you busy this week, sir?
So, what has kept me busy? I'm still addicted to Diablo, so I jump usually in between meetings. This is perfect when you have like a 30-minute space. You go on Diablo, do a dungeon, and then move to the next meeting. So, but I stopped kind of playing season 1. I just jumped back to my Eternal character. They buffed the Sorcerer again, with the latest patch.
So they buffed it back again? Okay, because they debuffed the Sorcerer, and then I switched to Necro. So I should get back to my Sorcerer now. Okay, cool.
You can go back to your Sorcerer. Awesome. He's back on track now.
Okay.
And I kind of found my perfect build, skill build now of very, very powerful combination that only works, with certain aspects of armor and loot you find. And but yeah, I'm leveling that up. So but the main game that has kept me busy is still Baldur's Gate 3. I just love every aspect of this game. It is phenomenal. I'm at the very end of Act 1 now, so I'm literally in front of the door that lets me continue and progress into Act 2. But it's I always get a warning like, don't do it. It's your party level is not up there, so. I'm just looking for what I missed because I feel like I cleared out the map of the first act, and
you did all the
I'm not
side
sure.
content and all that stuff.
At least the stuff I found, So I try to find what did I miss, so that I need to can continue leveling up my party. But the game is just so good.
And by the way, what platform are you playing that on, sir?
PC.
Oh,
PC. And on the Ally.
Yes. And on the Ally. Oh, yes. Actually, you know what? I took my kid to Taekwondo a couple days ago, and boy, did you know this thing got a little workout on Baldur's Gate 3, and it was actually pretty good.
Pretty good. Runs medium settings at around 45 FPS, which is fine.
That's where you need it to be.
Yeah. And it plays really well on that thing. I actually bought a docking station for the Ally, so I can hook it up to the TV when I'm at home, which runs also fantastic. And so yeah, that's Baldur's Gate, and it's a perfect Ally game, honestly.
It was made. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I was surprised. I expected it to be a bit too big for the Ally or handheld in general. Yeah, but it seems like it actually fits really well on there. And of course, as soon as you start combat, you turn into turn-based combat. So there's no need to I gotta rush and play it. You can literally leave it there, and it will wait for you until you come back to it. So it's actually I haven't really spoken too much about it on this channel just yet because. It's such a big game. I'm nowhere near where you are in this. And it's so big that you need to spend some time in it before you can actually grok what you're experiencing, you know? But I think I see what you're talking about. I see its greatness absolutely as well. I do. It's very, very vast. And
it is. What still baffles me really is like the amount of choices you can make in the game and how different the story will turn out. Their story tree is branching off like crazy, and the amount of lines and that they had to record to make this happen.
Yeah, it's just divergent paths. It's just monstrous. Yeah, how much time and effort, and it kind of makes me understand a little bit why some devs are coming out and going, "Whoa, people, pump your brakes." Don't think that Baldur's Gate 3 is now the minimum bar for these kind of things, because these people spent too much of their lives, on this thing, and it's rare. It's really rare.
It is definitely Baldur's Gate is definitely something special. It's a complicated game. You kind of need really when you progress through the story, and it becomes a little bit more challenging, the fights, you really have to know what kind of abilities your party members actually have and how you can combine them, buff each other up, or defend, heal, whatever. It becomes more complicated to play, but so you kind of have to stick with it. Like leaving this game alone for 4 weeks and then come back, it's going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of don't want to get into it. Because Starfield, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to get into it.
It's why I was like, do I get it? Because I knew I only have like 3 weeks mainly to play the game when it came out. I had, then FOMO hit me. I bought it, but I knew I only have like 3 weeks, which is basically up until now because I'm leaving to Gamescom early next week. So, and after that, Starfield is out. So, see me finishing this game before Starfield comes out, and I hope I can get back to it.
This is the problem.
Yeah,
right?
it's the problem.
So I actually think the console launch being a little later, at least on Xbox's side, is kind of a win for those of us who want to play it like this. Because I've dipped the toe into the waters right now. Once Starfield shows up, it's gone, right? So it'll take it releasing on console for me to go, oh yeah, let me start that again, right? By then, hopefully it'll be gone. Because you won't, like you said, you just cannot play them both at once. You just can't do that, No, it's kind of
that's impossible, and there's no way I'm holding off on Starfield, man. So yeah, and then I actually downloaded Everspace too.
Excellent.
Yeah. But I only played like the first hour or so. But the first impression is really good. Especially the spaceship steering feels very natural, very satisfying. Have you played Chorus?
I have played Chorus. I loved Chorus. I thought the control scheme was unusually great, and people probably didn't play enough of it to see how good it was. It was really good, and graphically it was also pretty good too.
Absolutely. And it kind of reminded me of that in the at least in the first hour or so that I played. So I'm definitely going to continue with that later tonight or tomorrow.
Everspace 2. Where did you download that?
On Xbox.
You downloaded it on Xbox. Okay.
On Xbox, yeah.
So for pro tip for those who aren't aware, if you are also part of the ROG Ally gang, it is free on the Epic Game Store right now. Everspace 2.
Oh.
So you can go hit that button and then roll a character on your old ally if you so choose. So there it is. Either it's free now or it's coming to be free. I read that this morning. So Everspace 2.
I mean,
there you go.
There you go. It's also part of Game Pass, definitely.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, that's awesome. So yeah, I will want to know how your Everspace experience goes, because I love those kind of games. Everspace 1, I played that game for a very long time. I loved the ship combat, the ideas that they were doing there. So no, it's a fun game. Those games tend to be more PC focused than console, but they still work right on console. I like that they thread that needle, and they're both very, very good. So no, that's awesome. Anything else you've been playing?
No, that's basically it. Those three games.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how about you?
Me, it's it's been an interesting time for games for me, because like you, I'm like sitting there biding my time. I can't play anything major, because if you do, then all of a sudden you gotta drop it when the juggernaut that is Starfield comes out, right? Yeah. So I've been lucky, and folks have heard me talk about this on the show. I've been lucky enough to where I've been finding cool indie gems, small nuggets of games that I've been loving, and I've been playing it. People have heard me talk about Double Dragons that I've played, the 2D Double Dragons. I really love that. I still pick that up from time to time. And then I was lucky enough to start getting codes from various indie and certain publishers that I thought were really cool. So I got a chance to try out a couple weeks ago episode 1 and episode 2 of The Expanse. If you're a sci-fi fan, the Telltale version of that is out.
Yeah.
And it is unusually great. So I've been playing that and really having a great time with it. So that's been cool. And then
sweet. Is there actually gameplay, or is it really like the Telltale games where you basically experience the story?
It is gameplay. There is gameplay. If you remember the Telltale of old, you can tell that they've really cleaned up their engine. It looks much better now. It's still very stylized. It's not like human, it's not like true to life, but it's cool. They've actually fixed it. This is the engine upgrade we were waiting for, right? It is still very much tried and true in their wheelhouse of a little light bit of gameplay. But the best way I can describe the gameplay to cinematic ratio is games in general. When we're talking about games with cinematics, it's usually the gameplay first and the cinematics further the gameplay for the storyline to keep you playing, right? In the Telltale version, it's backwards. They're telling you a story and they give you light bits of gameplay to get you to the next story. So it's there, it's just very, very lightly dispersed through. So if you're in there more for the story than it is the gameplay, right? And it's 45 minutes from beginning to middle to end, right? So if you're about the story and you're about that world, for me, I loved The Expanse, the show, so I had to check
Yeah.
this out, and it's really good. It's really like hones in on what made that show great, but it's not like, I wish they would go further in the gameplay direction, more gameplay,
Okay.
right, while still keeping the storyline what it is, right? But this is the new reforming of Telltale, and they've now cleaned up their engine, so I'm looking forward to seeing them mature that stuff a bit more. I think you'll possibly see more of that in the future. But
Cool.
this week, I got a chance to get a code for a game I've wanted to play for a long time. Those that remember, a couple months ago during Steam had their Next Fest, which is this demo fest where they give you 200 demos from all these games that are eventually coming out. This game just happened to catch my eye, and I started playing it, and I thought it was absolutely awesome, right? And it's a game called Viewfinder. And I played the demo. I thought the demo was awesome. I actually talked about it on the show, how I enjoyed the demo. And this is like that triple I, where creativity is just on display. It's just really, really like they take an idea that you wouldn't have thought of, and they just expound on it. And this was that for me. And then one thing led to another, and I've been part of the Keymailer network for content creators. Yeah. And I got an opportunity to get a game code to check it out. So thank you so much. Cool. First and foremost, salute to Thunderful and what is it, Sad Owl Studios for allowing me to check the game out. And like for those who like games like the Messenger, not the Messenger. What was it? Jonathan Blow, and of course the chat will always keep me honest. Jonathan Blow's last game that had very deep on puzzle, very beautiful world, very open world. It's all about visual puzzles, but this one is about a Polaroid Instamatic kind of camera, and what interesting things can happen. Now, everyone who's seen this obviously has seen what it can do. I wish you could go into this game blind without seeing what the trick is, but man, it's awesome. Like, they start off in an interesting direction and they just keep going in that interesting direction. So it's basically Sweet. The first thing I thought of, and I know a lot of people will see this and hear what I say and go, come on, VR is dead. But my first thing was, this thing should be a VR game, 100%. And the concept of the game should be a VR game. Meaning, you grab a picture. Oh, and the game that I'm talking about, the comparison is The Witness, not The Messenger, The Witness. If you recall, there was a game called The Witness by Jonathan Blow, and it had very interesting visual puzzles. It got a little hard. This is not as hard as that, right? But I can tell the influence here. But the difference with this is, it's a Polaroid camera or a picture or any picture you take, and you can literally freeze time. You put the picture in front of your vision, it freezes time in there, and you can basically traverse that world. It's super interesting. Let me cut quickly to the tape here, and you can rewind time because you're in. Look, so I grab the picture, right? I snap it there, and by the way, this is PS5 footage. So I played this on the PS5, and when you take the shot, it is now part of the world. It looks like it's there, and you can walk through the world, and it becomes part of the world.
That's crazy, man.
Right? Is the
combinations that are possible then?
Yes. And they start using this as traversal mechanics. Okay, so you need to get all the way over there. How do you get all the way over there? And all you have is space between yourself and there. And what pictures do you put in place? And all. It is just so mind-blowingly awesome, the concepts that they have going on here. This is like literally what I love in the indie space. When you come up with a very interesting idea and then just keep going further. And this is just the beginning of it, right? They start with a picture, then it starts with visual gags. You look to the left, look to the right, and it kind of locks in place, and then you traverse it. They do crazy, and the pictures right now are black and white. Like there's pixel art, there's 8-bit pictures. You can flip pictures upside down and they become traversal mechanics. It is such an amazing concept taken to its crazy conclusion. So and also to mention the fact that the game itself has some kind of a story, right? You are in a VR world, so in the game itself you are in VR, kind of like it's almost like it's like Assassin's Creed. You're in the Animus, if you will, right? So you start in the Animus, eventually you get out of the Animus, but you're in the Animus as the story goes, and the real world is having some issues. I'm not gonna spoil it, but the real world is having some issues, and this world has some answers for that real world issue that you're trying to solve. So you come into this real world to traverse the world to try and find the solve to the problem that the real world is having, right? So it is super cool. Again, salute to them for letting me play this. I think this is really cool. If I have one bit of feedback, put this game on PSVR 2. Put this game on every VR platform. Let me take a picture, hold it up like this, and then walk into it. Such a cool concept. Like, it's just wild. What do you think of the games like this? I don't know. This is very specifically a puzzle kind of game.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I love those type of games. I love those type of games. You said something. This is the kind of gameplay mechanics that you don't see in AAA games these days, because it's a complete risk to take such an approach in a major AAA game when you have a multi-million dollar budget behind it. Yep. And this is what the indie space creates. These unique gameplay mechanics and gameplay ideas. So from what you've been describing, that sounds fantastic, man. Taking the pictures and make the pictures like part of the world that you can traverse. Then
you walk into
this
them.
is crazy.
Yeah.
I can see it on the footage here, right here. What you do.
And if you take the picture and you make a mistake, you can rewind time and retake the picture again. You need a battery to be able to get your teleporter working, and you only have one battery, so you got to go find the picture, rotate it. It's just they took some time and they made some interesting
really
things.
Cool.
It's very, very cool. Very cool. I love it. I hope more people try it. It's an unfortunate scenario where this thing should carve out more of a niche for itself. People should be talking about it more, but of course it's in between the onslaught that is 2023, so people may or may not catch this sooner rather than later. I hope it ends up on Game Pass. I hope it ends up everywhere. It'd be so cool. This game is awesome, and it looks great. It looks like it's gorgeous looking. It plays on everything. Obviously, I played it on this as well. Maybe on the Gamers Playground, which is the show. Cheap plug. Shout out to my co-host, Mr. John Wolf. We'll talk a bit more probably about this on that show, but this is what I've been playing first and foremost. So again, shout out to the publisher. Shout out to Keymailer for seeing my interest in it and offering this to me. I think it's excellent and providing it to me. Yeah, it's really cool. Hopefully I get more of this cool stuff. I know I see some people out there getting their fields of stars and starting all the other things. And I won't be jelly at all. I'm sitting here enjoying my indie games. Leave me alone.
Sweet.
So okay. So I've been playing this. Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just wanted. So you didn't get a code for Starfield either. So I'm not alone here. It's what it is.
It is what it is. I see some of our great content creators out there did get a code now, and shout out to them.
Absolutely.
It's awesome that they're able to do that. So, I will patiently wait until mine comes when it comes a little early. And by the way, a little slander in America, GameStop lost my order, so I will not be getting the Constellation Edition. Oof. So, whatever, GameStop, it is what it is. Yeah, they sent me messages later that the thing is sold out, and I'm like, that's not how it happened, but it is what it is. It's fine. Needless to say, we will not move on from our gaming topic until I tell you about the game that has taken my life for the last, I'd say, 16 hours, and it may have to be Starfield that will get me away from playing the game that I've been waiting for so long. And the unfortunate nature is I can't do this game justice, because I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna show you game footage of it without the audio, and man, BombRush Cyberfunk requires audio to complete the picture. It is okay. So before we even get started here, I am biased in two key ways. I'm very biased, and I will warn you before we even start. I tell you why I love this game. One of my favorite games of all time, Jet Set Radio. Okay, it's what made me love the Dreamcast. Jet Set Radio Future is what made me love the Xbox OG. And I still think those games are excellent. I still emulate them constantly because that's the only way you can play them, specifically Jet Set Radio Future. This was a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio, the idea. So I've always been keeping it on my radar. It just dropped on Steam. It's not on consoles yet, I'm sorry. It will be soon enough. Yeah, there are plans for consoles eventually, but this is only on Steam right now. It dropped out of the blue, and I'm like, what? I was actually driving someplace, and I saw it in the news. I had no consoles with me. I literally bought it on Steam right then and there on my phone, and then started downloading it at home. I got home, and it was waiting for me. I am a completely biased individual because this was my favorite game when I was a kid, okay? My favorite. And then to make matters worse, after playing this, I'm like, this has to be, like, they have hit the nail so well on the head. Who made this? And oh, guess what? It's a Dutch team, and I've lived in Holland most of my life. Oh. So I am completely biased, but I am in love with this game. It is the best game I've played in this genre. Like, they have brought this thing back in such a big way. I am such a huge fan. I've been listening to its music all week, since it came out, listening to it constantly. When I'm not playing it, I'm listening to it. It is so good. It is so good. I can't tell you how good it is. You must play it for yourself. So the game has been out for has been announced for a while, right? And a bunch of people have known that it's coming. And we always thought that, yeah, they took the Jet Set Radio idea and they're gonna basically rekindle it, right? What they did was they took the Jet Set Radio idea and they brought it to 2023. So the music is modern, the style is modern, but still the gameplay elements are there. They literally, in certain instances, took the whole city from Jet Set Radio whole cloth. It looks like they rebuilt the actual Jet Set Radio city. Like, sweet. It's not even funny.
What kind of music genre are they using?
The music genre is it's hip hop, it's house.
It's still hip hop. Okay.
It's EPM. It's old school, new school. It's got dance. It's all mixed, but it's exactly how you would think the evolution of Jet Set Radio would be. Like, exactly how.
Awesome.
To the point where some of the songs are literally almost like rewrites of the OG Jet Set Radio music, right? It's not a clone, but it's like, you know where they got the original idea from.
It's a natural evolution. So
it's a natural evolution, yes. And shout out to what do you call it? The godfather of podcasting. Well, one half of the team with Paris Lily, who does Gamer Tag Radio. I saw them interview the game director for this game, young Dutch man, Dutch fellow, right? And actually, let me see if I can show a bit of that footage. And again, unfortunately, I can't play the music from it because that's just I won't be doing that. I don't want to copyright situations.
Copyright strikes.
Yes, but let me show you. Like, this is another reason why I'm super excited about this. So here's the game director. This is the game director of this game here. Oh, hold on, let me make sure I'm hitting the button right. Oh, of course I didn't do it right. But he's literally the game director of this game, and he is also a b-boy. So he motion captured himself into the game, and this is the entire game.
And cool.
And you gotta listen to the music, bro. It is wow. Like, this is like a person like me who loved this game as much as I did when I was a kid, and instead of going into the genre that I went into, the field I went into, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna still continue to be a b-boy, and I'm gonna make a game and put it in there. And oh, by the way, I'm gonna make it exactly like Jet Set Radio. It is like chef's kiss.
Awesome.
So I'm bringing this up to say, you know, I need to interview these people. I need to find these people, and I need to interview these people because they have made one of, to me, the greatest games I have played in a long time. So yes, shout out to what is it? Team Reptile, I think is what they're called. Like, they made an amazing game. I hope more people play it, and of course, as it comes to console, I'm sure more people will play it. But yeah, as of right now, if you, Team Reptile, if you happen to have your Steam Deck, and by the way, it sips TDP, so you can put that thing on like 8 TDP, and you're still running at almost 60. I got it to 120 on the Ally. It runs beautifully. It's great. So yes, check it out. I hope you guys check it out. It's awesome. I've been loving it. So those are the games I've been playing. Viewfinder, shout out to them, and of course Cyberfunk, which I've been waiting for a long time for. But all right, let's get into this. By the way, people in the chat, let me know. I said I'm biased. Have you tried it? Will you try it? Am I ridiculous? I might be. Who knows? It's my.
You told me, man. You had me at Jet Set Radio.
Yes. If you like Hi-Fi Rush, play this. That's what I'll tell you. Art style, music. If you like Hi-Fi Rush, this is the next game you should play. So that's my.
I loved Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes,
Hi-Fi Rush was the biggest surprise of the year, honestly.
And I loved it too. So yeah, that's why I'm totally down with this game. I think it's absolutely amazing. So check it out. And if you like it, let me know in them Twitter streets, on them X streets, because I will not stop talking about it. I've already been posting a bunch of stuff about it. I think it's awesome. But all right, let us move on to some of the news stories we're talking about. But first and foremost, let me thank the over 100 people already in the chat. In the chat and watching live. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Please consider subscribing if you are new. I know we have a lot of great subscribers, a lot of great followers in here. I see y'all in here, and Enigmatic Dreams, The Black John, Live Supremacy. Thank you guys so much here for being here. Web Dave, great content creators among the fray. Jigga Jay. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support and be here. Yes, Everborn Prima Donna is late, but he will join us momentarily. He asked me if I could start the show an hour late, and I was like, hell no, man. The show must go on. But he'll join us. He'll join us in the show. So don't worry, he'll be in here.
That's cool.
But let's move forward and let's talk about some of the news stories that have been galvanizing the community as of late. And first and foremost, it's kind of a bad news, I think. And I guess this is maybe a call to action for all my Xbox console lovers out there. There has been news coverage, and they have announced it both officially and has been reported by all the various news outlets that the Xbox 360 store will be closing less than a year from now, July 2024. But of course, even in their headline, they're like, you games if you own them, right? Yeah. If you've downloaded them, if you've purchased them, if you own them, they will keep them alive on them servers for you. But the problem then here is all the games you've always wanted to get, some games that you thought were interesting, that you were like, hey, maybe one of these days I'll give them a try. It's not a huge list, and when you look at this list right off of jump, you might not think, oh, these are the who's who of games. But I'm sure that in this list, any Xbox 360 lover will find one or two games they go, damn, I better buy that before it goes away. So it's in here's the list of it. I will put this stuff in the show notes when the show posts live. What do you think, Boxenberger? I know it's a necessary evil of digital games and all of that, but here we are, right? A bunch of games that could have existed now basically have nowhere to be played unless you sell these
unless you own them,
these high streets, or you own them. So what are your thoughts?
Like you said, it was inevitable. I mean, they are the last one that have the store online. PlayStation 3 store went down, I want to say in 21 or 22, but it's definitely already down, just like the Vita store. Nintendo took their store offline like
ages
forever ages ago. This was like they're the last one to shut them down. And I mean, it's on the one hand, it kind of sucks because, like you said, there's in this list, there's just
there are some magic, some gems in here,
some magic,
So, and many of them have been re-released. Many of them have been reported or whatever. But every once in a while, you get your Call of Duty classic. Where are you gonna find that?
I mean, you've seen what happened to Call of Duty when they turned the servers on again, right? Child of Light, I see it here on this list, a fantastic game. That sucks on the one hand. On the other hand, I mean, a couple of weeks ago I posted on Twitter that I would consider the Xbox 360 now a retro console, since it's been like 18 years now, man. I know it kind of feels hard to talk about it, and I feel very old. Sir?
Oh my god!
Yes,
you just made it grow a gray just go out of my face the minute you said that. Oh, that's terrible.
And for a retro console to not have the online store available anymore, and I mean, we still have another year left, to get the great games that are on this list. Yeah.
If you say Xbox OG retro console, okay, because they didn't come with internet as a primary, but see, now that I say that, there is a 360 that was released without any kind of wireless, right? You had to buy that separately. Remember, you had to buy a little piece.
I mean, the launch. I think the launch.
It had Ethernet, but
360 did. It had Ethernet.
Ethernet,
but no Wi-Fi. So I think that was.
Buy a dongle. Okay.
That was introduced with the Slim also, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they had little dongle pieces, the USB pieces you could buy.
Yeah.
Chat, do you agree? Is the 360 a retro console? Oh my God! Oh man, I'm feeling old this morning. Okay, but continue.
Basically, everything before last gen is retro in some sort of form, you know. So.
Oh man, but by that narrative, we're gonna be talking about the retro PS5 in a year or two.
If you think about this, man, hey, I was like, dude, is it really 18 years since we played like the launch window games like Oblivion? Yeah, but it's been 18 years, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do understand that they have to take it down.
Yeah.
I wonder, because Xbox has been like very heavily investing in game preservation. You know, with all the things that they do around back compat, they have been strongly advertising that, and game preservation is kind of a selling point for them at this point. And so I wonder why they do not just move those games over to the Xbox current gen store, whatever that's called.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So I do wonder if they will do something like that. Duke Nukem 3D is on that list, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are some games that I think maybe I suspect that some of the overlap here on games that are gonna stay here might be to do with licensing. Duke Nukem 3D. Who do you go to get rights for that at this point? It's fallen in such a loophole, in limbo, right? You can't go ask somebody, the authority, to back compat it, because who's gonna take the license rights for that? And
we'll actually get the money if I purchase that game now.
Exactly. See, to me, it's one of the craziest things. Look at this, Fez. Like, to me,
yes, Fez.
I don't know if anybody's played Fez in a long time. My children play Fez almost weekly. They have it on their iPads.
Oh,
like, to me, Fez is considered one of the GOAT games on the mountain on the hill. Like, it's beyond reproach. It's amazing, and it's on this list.
It is.
Right, it's everywhere though. Like I said, you can buy it on the iPad at this point, and I think there's a back compat new version. But some of these games, man, if you're not like one of those amazing games, like if you happen to be, let's say, Fruit Ninja Connect, how are you ever gonna exist again? It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's kind of is sad. But then next year it will be 19 years when they shut the store down, and I kind of understand that. So and at this point, I own the games digitally that I want to own. Like, so I'm not really missing out, and at least me personally, but I do get it for some that might want to experience some retro games,
absolutely.
It is a bummer. It kind of is a bummer.
So real quick, for those who haven't, and this two-parter, and then we'll move on. One, I suggest you go through this list, and maybe if you need help, find some other guides that say, hey, these are the games that are going away, and these are your gems. There are some gems in here you would want to have on your list.
Yeah.
I will start you off. Super Time Force. If you don't own Super Time Force, go get Super Time Force. It's awesome. It's a game about time travel. It's tongue in cheek. It's kind of like Broforce. I was talking about that a couple weeks ago, where you're just running around, a run and gun. But again, that indie idea is there, where you start the game. They have different classes, many different classes, right? So you're the gunner, or you're the rogue, or you're the heavy, right? And you're playing through the game, and the game is admittedly hard. It's a 2D side-scrolling kind of game. It's very pixel arty. The cutscenes are very much your Saturday morning cartoons. Very cool, funny, and all that. So you're driving, you're walking through, and then you're going through the enemies. And when you get killed, the game reverts back to the beginning of the level, and you pick a different class. But the cool thing is, while you start the level again, the first class that you were running through the game with is playing with you. You're going with a shadow of yourself. So he's still killing the guys he's killing, and now you're with him, right? And if you happen to save him from getting killed, then you can join him, and then you are now Super Dude who has both of those skills. Like, it is such mind-trippy, intelligent game design. They did a great job. It was a launch title for Xbox One. And of course, it was also on 360. So yes, these are some of the games that are on there. Very cool, weird things. You know, if you haven't checked it out, you should. Call to action if you have not. Look through the list. I'm sure for the price of one standard game now, $70, you'll have a cart full of stuff, and you will love it for a long time. So there you go. They're closing the shop. It's sad. I gotta give me another 360. It's been a while. My old 360 is a little dusty. It doesn't play discs anymore. I have to find a new 360. But okay.
I still have the you know the Gears of War 360 that makes the lens sound.
Yeah, awesome. And it still works.
It still works. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Mine's
at least it did like a year ago, so I would assume it still works.
So my friend, my kids are finally able to play Rock Band and Guitar Hero. So I wanted to introduce them to that magic, right? I put the discs in. It doesn't read the discs. I'm like, no. I have like every disc. I have like hundreds of games, DLC songs, all gone. So now I gotta get another 360. But no, we'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed. But all right, let us move on. Like, and of course, I gave Mr. Everborn Saga an hour, and we're 10 minutes before the hour. So of course, I will drop some Sega slander real quick right here. Since he's not here, I will ask. Boxenberger. Yeah. Sega, they have completed the purchase of the acquisition of Rovio. Everborn Saga thinks that
who cares?
Everborn Saga thinks that Microsoft should acquire Sega so that they can have that mobile arm. What do you think, sir?
Honestly, when I look at Xbox, they've been the console manufacturer. Yeah, so. And then they moved on to PC. Now their focus has shifted towards PC, and the console gamers kind of feel like second-class citizens. And now they're moving over to mobile. And I wonder what's going to happen with their focus on console and PC for that matter.
They might start feeling like second-class citizens again. I hear you. I
hear. So and then the console owners become third citizens. So no, I'm not. I don't have any benefit from Microsoft going into the mobile segment. I don't see that. I'm not. I play on everything but mobile. You know, I have all the consoles. I have a good PC. I have the Ally. I play everywhere, but I don't play on mobile, so I couldn't care less. And the only thing that I can see, and this is what I've been also saying about this entire ABK thing, you know, the console gamers do not get much out of it outside of Call of Duty and like every 10 years a Blizzard game like Diablo or so, but that's about it. What the console owners will get. The PC owners with World of Warcraft already a little bit more, but everyone that wanted to play on PC World of Warcraft already has or is still playing, so you're not really generating a new benefit for those kind of gamers. And the only thing that might change is on mobile. Yeah, they intend to open up the new App Store and everything, but maybe I sound selfish here, but for me, there's really not much in there outside of the fact that they will be distracted. That's, you know, and that they might shift their focus. Yeah, I mean, they have been distracted for the last 1.5 years already. So now they have this huge organization that is going in Microsoft. They have like a lot of problems with all the lawsuits that are going on and the cultural things within the company, and the company having way too much overhead and so this will take up a lot of the management time, and then they will shift their focus on mobile. That's what they said. That's the intention of and the purpose behind this deal. It's not Call of Duty per se. it's the mobile part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder how this will be continued. So if I see this, Sega completed Rovio, and if Xbox intends to buy Sega, I hope it's not because of Rovio. I hope because of all the other legacy IPs. You know, but yeah. So we shall see how this will turn out. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not particularly excited about this, man.
You know, but I think it's and unfortunately, Everborn Saga's not here to give his opinion, but it is an interesting thing you bring, right? Right now, right, in your humble estimation from your perch, right? It looks like Xbox gamers are feeling like they're second-class citizens, and the argument could be made because it's the ABK thing or the shift to PC or whatever. So the question is, will you should gamers be worried that when mobile becomes the third or the fourth leg in the stool, we'll say, that console gamers feel even more slighted than they do currently? Ooh, what a thought. That is interesting. You know what? I will put that poll in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put it in the chat. Are you worried about Xbox gamers becoming third-class citizens? Yes, no, or where's Everborn Saga? I always leave a weird one in there for the control group. All right, so let's move forward. But we'll once Everborn joined us, we will double back and talk about this. So it's in the chat. We want you to vote. Tell us what you think. But while we wait for Everborn Saga to join us to reweigh on, hey, you know, whether we should care about Rovio's acquisition, which I'm sure he will have some slander for that, I have another unfortunate piece of news to talk about, which is Embracer, which some people were dashing them. There was a lot of dashing going on, like, oh, they're not going to do anything with this. I had faith in them. They were doing interesting things. They had so much overhead, but they were making it work. And now it looks like the inevitable downfall is happening, and the fire sale is about to happen. THQ Fire Sale 2.0. What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I mean, there's always the first thing that always comes to my mind is, of course, I mean, shutting down studios is a headline, but there are actually people behind that. People lost their jobs, which is always unfortunate. Yeah. So, of course, that's always the first thing that comes to mind, and I do hope that the respective developers will get on their foot soon again. So that's definitely the case. And then about Embracer, I mean, we've all been talking about this for a long time. So nobody knows what their end goal is. They've been buying studios left and right, and usually smaller studios, but they kind of do not overmanage them, you know. It's not like Tencent, where everything that they buy suddenly has to become like a free-to-games as a service kind of title.
It seems like Embracer lets them be themselves and continue to do their independent thing by and large,
And from everything I have been hearing about Embracer Group, is all that they do is try to, you know, generate support in between the studios, help them share technology, and so I never understood what their actual intention is, because Embracer is a very weird company. They have like everything. It's not just a video game company. Yeah, they have like they do washing machines, and they are in the financial sector, and they have some sort of energy trading company that they own, and it's like a really weird. I don't
their
know.
Their fingers and toes are in every pie these days. Yes, they're everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So, but when it comes to gaming, I haven't heard anything bad about their acquisitions. They never really like shut down studios. They never brought out like games as a service titles riddled with microtransaction or whatnot. So when they went for the bigger boys, like what was it, last year or 2 years ago, when they bought Crystal and Eidos, and when they acquired the Lord of the Ring licensing, and you were like
crazy, like, whoa,
crazy, it's like, what are they doing? What is their end game? And so what happened now is, a couple of months ago, they were trying to get a $2 billion deal done, which didn't come to fruition, and of course their investors didn't like that, you know, and the stock tanked. Like the company's now only worth a third of what they used to be, and of course they will have to take actions. And I wonder just if they overtook themselves with those big studios and big IPs, because if you think about it, like having a Tomb Raider now on their hands is like the investment you have to put into making a good Tomb Raider game is like the entire budget of the other 50 studios that they have.
And to
combined,
your point, look at their focus. Their emphasis now is external funding for new games. They recognize exactly what you're talking about here, right? Which is, if we're going to make anything succeed, we're going to have to incubate, put some more money in the pot, and we ain't got the dough, son. So where are you, Amazon? Please help us fund the next game, Kind of crazy. Exactly.
I mean, they already did that with the license of Lord of the Rings, where they had Amazon, but now they do it also with need to do it with the gaming IPs. And I think just they tried to grow a little bit too fast, like coming from the smaller investment group, investing in little indie studios and whatnot, to like really playing in the AAA. And I mean, it doesn't get any more AAA than like a Tomb Raider game,
Absolutely.
I think that it was just a little bit too much, and now I wonder how they will refocus. And I do hope that none of the studios that we actually really care about go under in the process of them transitioning over to this different organizational structure that we have.
And I'll put on the screen all the various studios that we care about. Now, there's a lot of studios under their umbrella, but these are the studios, frankly, that we care about. I'm talking about your Gearboxes. I'm talking about your Saber Interactives, Free Mode, Dark Horse,
exactly.
Right?
Dark
IPs,
Horse, man.
Right? Crystal Dynamics, of course. They have a lot of
THQ Nordic, honestly.
THQ Nordic, yes, absolutely, right. So
have you seen their
scary.
showcase, by the way?
Which was
Sorry
awesome.
For
oh no, please, excellent.
So going off rails here a little, but
no,
dude, I was so surprised about this showcase.
It was good.
This one thing that stood out to me is Gothic. Have you seen the trailer for the Gothic remake?
Yep.
I don't know if you played the original. I loved it back in the days. It was like, I think it is a milestone in RPG video games. Gothic 1 and 2 were like insanely good. I even enjoyed 3, the ones that came after. But this remake, it looks stellar. Like top-notch graphics, running in Unreal 5, super impressive lighting, real good animation work, and it kind of reminded me of what Square did with the Final Fantasy VII remake, where they just took the game, and since it's really old, and I'm talking like 20 plus years, like it might even be 25 years now that when the original Gothic came out, and really completely reimagining that, and it looks absolutely insane, and it immediately became one of my most anticipated games. So
it's surprising that this thing came about. And like the show just kind of showed up, and I'm putting a bit of footage of it on the screen here. It just kind of came about, and no one expected it because it's just a THQ show or whatever. But this was Embracer Group's like kind of their coming out party, even though the news behind them was like, oh no, bad news or whatever. It was pretty freaking awesome. Trailer after trailer after trailer was just really great, like really good, well thought out material. Like I think next time they have one of their showcases, barring that Embracer Group still looks like it looks today, people will pay more attention, right? I think maybe they should have like added this to more of a Gamescom showcase or something like that to give it more attention, because I thought it was pretty good.
Me too. There were like a couple of games in there where I thought, man, they belong on the opening night live stage.
Absolutely,
because they deserve the attention.
Absolutely, I do not disagree. So again, for me, I think Embracer as a whole is doing interesting things, right? They have really interesting ties with Game Pass. Like most people don't know, they have very interesting ties with Game Pass, right? Microsoft, I think if they should do some kind of a deal with them to keep them going, because What people affectionately or not so affectionately call Game Pass filler. Some of the most amazing, interesting little onesie twosie games that you didn't know you wanted come from them, right? And you would have never bought it, but you play it on Game Pass, and you're like, wow, this thing is pretty excellent, and it's from Embracer Group. So I think it's pretty excellent that they've been able to carve out that niche. It's kind of messed up that now all of a sudden it seems like the deck of cards are kind of falling apart. You know what I mean? So it's kind of sad. Oh, I see Mr. Gerald Mack with a $5 super chat. Thank you for being here, sir. He says, sorry I'm late. Shout out to the S tier podcast, the GCP. Salute K Asante. Salute Boxenberger. Gray Beards, the Foundation Xbox.
Salute.
We're outside. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Yes, Mr. Everborn Saga should join us momentarily. He said he would anyway. We shall see. We shall see. But no, speak on, this whole Embracer Group thing. People have been giving them short shrift for a very long time. They've been saying, these guys, Game Pass fodder, right? And then I see Alone in the Dark. And I'm like, yo, that the graphics, the mocap work, it is beyond reproach. It's like any AAA crazy budgeted thing. Why do people keep giving these guys short shrift? I don't understand it. I think they should be respected, and I hope they kind of come back on their
Gothic
feet.
Remake. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody is talking about it, but it deserves all the praise, man.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, I agree. So we'll keep an eye on this thing, but I'm telling you, do not sit on the idea that Embracer Group has something to offer. And maybe, and by the way, they have a South Park game coming. I'm like, freaking awesome. The last South Park game was made by Obsidian, believe it or not, and it was also pretty awesome. So I'm excited to see what this is. But all right, let us move forward to our next story. And this I read, and I read all sorts of mags and all sorts of websites and all sorts of things, and people have their takes. But this one was an interesting one that I thought maybe might spur some interesting conversation. And this is from Push Square. And yes, we know who Push Square tends to be. Yes, but they asked a very interesting question. Is live service becoming an excuse to release unfinished games? So Boxenberger, obviously this, and of course they show you some visual elements here. They may be geared in one direction, but I will broaden it out. One of the examples they talk about, of course, is Battlefield, which now seems to be working great, right? But it wasn't when it first started, and people bought into it.
Absolutely, agree.
We're talking about.
I don't know why they put Diablo in there. Honestly,
yeah, I think that's weird.
Super finished.
I think Diablo's odd. I don't know. I think maybe because they buff and debuff characters constantly and pissing people off, that maybe that might be why they added them. But I think that even that one doesn't match really. That one doesn't. But this is Push Square we're talking about. So so it is what it is. But they do pose an interesting question, right? Even in the Destiny community, in various communities.
Yeah,
it's like they're taking your cash, or specifically Destiny, right? How many campaign DLCs have you bought that you can no longer play, right? Because they've shelved them. And why have they shelved them? Not because, you could say it's shady or you could say whatever, but by and large, they've shelved them because there's not enough infrastructure to keep everything you paid for live and active, right? So you're kind of paying purchase price to rent things that that come and go as they please. So it does ask the question, right? It begs the question. I think it's an interesting question. What are your thoughts on it? Are these games unfinished launching, Diablo 4 notwithstanding, and is just par for the course, or should we be grabbing our pitchforks and fighting about this?
I mean, is it really a live service problem? This would be my counter question, because if you think about it, games launch unfinished all the time. Single player games do, multiplayer games do, live service games do. So I'm not sure if it is a live service problem per se. Live service games maybe kind of tend to have that problem a little bit more often because they are built to be supported after launch. But if you think about this year, all the games that came out like unfinished, look at Star Wars Survivor. I thought it was a fantastic game, but when it came out, the product was definitely not finished. And there's
absolutely,
it's it's a single player game, no microtransactions whatsoever. So is it really a live service problem, or is it just the fact that games can get patched after launch these days? You know, you're old as me, you know.
Hashtag graybeards. Let's go.
yeah. Although I don't have that many gray hairs yet, but we're still
I wear my grays
age,
as a badge of honor. I could get rid of it, but I choose not to. I enjoy it.
Wouldn't get rid of it either. So, but you know, if you remember back in the day, it started for me on the NES. There was no way you had, or no chance you had the possibility to patch a game.
An unfinished unfinished game. Yeah. It couldn't release.
So games had to come. Exactly. You had to bring them out finished and without bugs and whatnot. And it's just something that happened over the last 10, 15 years. With online patches actually being possible now, it kind of feels like more games come out unfinished, and I don't like it. I really don't. I don't think that, especially the day one buyers should be your beta testers. I hate that, because usually you get the better product if you simply buy the game 6 months after launch in a sale. You just do, and it shouldn't be the case. And I don't think that live service, like Push Square put it on here, is the problem per se. It is more of an industry-wide thing, that we have the possibilities and developers get the chance to do so. And the problem, of course, is with game development. You have to put in a lot of money into your product before you get a return of investment. And if you have the chances to fix certain things after launch, investors, publishers just tend to do so. So I wouldn't relate it to live service, but more of a general problem.
More a general problem. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you know what? While you were saying this, you brought to me a very interesting line of questioning, a line of that I just thought about, which wasn't on my docket, but as the conversation progresses, this is definitely what I want to talk about with you. You being a technologist like me, you think about these things, right? Like, we started down this path where it was like, oh, this will be amazing. You can release digital games. And now, because of the method of being able to deliver games digitally to the consumer, we now have this byproduct of a problem where games like scope creep, and you can never put your keyboard down or pen down, and now you have unfinished games all over the place, which is basically an unintended consequence of being able to deliver games digitally, right? On the flip, the same kind of token, we've been talking about AI and chat GPT in games, right? And it's been super interesting conversation, and people are like, oh, well, you know, this will just be on the fringes for now. This will just be something. And all the while there are others going, hey, you guys got to be careful when it becomes a ubiquitous thing. The idea of it being background, you know, it just may be very well an unintended consequence, just like you're describing right now, right? Like I've been reading stuff, and I've actually seen Steam games where there's a demo right now in Steam where you can literally talk to a game in game with a mic on your PC or wherever, and you're like you're a detective. You just showed up and you're discovering what happened. There's a crazy stuff has happened in the background, and every NPC is ChatGPT, and each of them has been profiled for, okay, you're the lieutenant on scene, you're one of the witnesses, you're this, you're that, and they're all ChatGPT, and every one of them plays their part to perfection, and you can literally talk to them forever, and they will always stay in character, and they always have something new to say. Imagine that world, and saying, oh, don't worry, you voice actors, you writers of dialogue, your job is still safe forever. Unintended consequences, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like that is a scary place. Am I wrong here, sir?
It is. No,
Pull me
you're
off
not.
the ledge.
Like, if you look at some of the development teams, especially with the bigger open world RPGs and you know, the Assassin's Creed and whatnot, they have hundreds of writers to write all these hundreds of thousands of lines. Can you imagine how many writers were busy with Starfield? They have like 350,000 lines recorded. Like someone had to write them, and you need hundreds of people. And I work in the automotive industry. We also have like this talk in our company all the time, because there are simply jobs that are on the line here with the immersion of AI. And there's always chances and risks with such technology. I mean, when they invented, like 200 years ago, the machines for industrial production, everyone was like, "Oh, we are all doomed, and we can go home." Like this always happens when technology emerges. Yeah,
Yep.
I don't think AI will kill
everything,
make us all unemployed. That's not gonna happen. We will just have a different focus now on certain jobs, and. But yeah, there are chances and risks for video games in particular. I mean, the idea would be cool to have like
cool as hell, bro. Cool as hell.
Yeah, absolutely. That your and mine experience in a game like a Starfield. Let's keep that example. It would be completely different. We walk into a space station and we talk to this guy, and I get a completely different conversation than you do. The chances are there for very cool experiences. It also has the possibility, of course, to generate like very generic stories. Like, it really depends where AI is going, but can you like get these emotional things that sometimes happen in video games where you are just super invested in a story? And is an AI really able to catch those kind of things? So that's of course the risk side. So we all have the feeling like some of the Ubisoft side quests have been written by AI for years because they are so so generic. But it is with every technology, chances and risks. Or how do you see this?
No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think from an end user perspective, it has a chance to give you far more immersion than you've ever experienced before, right? Like how many games have we played right now as gamers, and no matter how great the game, no matter how amazing or how in-depth the game, you talk to the one NPC and he says the same thing twice and you go, right? It breaks your immersion. All of a sudden, you ask a question one too many times and you hit the edge of their dialogue speech tree and they say the same thing again, repeating as if they've never said it before. It kind of makes you go, oh well, I guess we're not there yet, right? So that's where it stands to deepen the conversation. I watched a YouTube video of people playing with this AI, and they ask the most outlandish. You're a detective. You walk in there, you ask the stupidest questions, you talk about the crazy, wildest things, and then the AI will go, well, that has nothing to do with this conversation. Do you not see that there's a war behind you? There's something going on? How about you stay focused? Like, it's amazing, some of the stuff it can do, right?
Really
it's so
cool.
great.
Yeah.
It's super cool. But on the flip side, there when the horse and buggy was a thing of its day, and somebody showed up in a metal box that had wheels on it, people were like, this thing, what is this thing gonna do, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to your point, risk and reward, right? So, but exactly to your point, if we don't keep an eye on it and dial it as humans, right? What happens? You get the generic stuff. It regurgitates itself over and over and over and over again, right? So I agree with you that there will always be a need for a human to kind of be that creative eye. I'm just interested in where this is going to go because it's super, super crazy.
Me too.
It is this new world.
It really is.
Absolutely. Now, on the topic of AI and deep immersive worlds, let's take a quick detour and talk about Starfield. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's upon us. I spend every week trying to find somebody to come talk Starfield with me. This week it's Boxenberger. Talk to me about Starfield, Boxenberger. How excited are you?
Through the roof.
How excited are you for Starfield? Specifically, they now talked about their specs and all that. Before it was just wild. It can't run on anything, and now you see what it's running on. You've seen a few people showing pictures of themselves downloading certain binaries, making other people very jealous. That's where we are with it right now. I know you're excited for Starfield. I know that. I know you are. And I know. Why don't you speak to me a bit about the speeds and feeds? Because I know, like me, when you see them, you understand what you're looking at. You know, initially it seemed like it was like Star Citizen levels of ridiculousness, and now you see it's more down to earth, right? So speak to me about that. And secondly, speak to me about the fact that people are now making hay on the fact that it will only have AMD upscaling techniques at launch and not DLSS upscaling techniques. Go ahead.
Let me start with the hardware requirements. When you look at it, so the 1070 Ti as the minimum thing, which is at this point, I mean, really old card. Yeah, let's be real here. So minimum specs aren't that high. The only thing that stands out is that it is one of the very rare games that actually require you to have an SSD. And even if you look at the recommended specs, which are like in the ballpark of the current gen consoles, not exactly. I know you can talk about whether it's our GPUs here is like 2070 Ti and not 2080 or something, but it is in the ballpark, which is the recommended specs. I still wonder why there was no chance to get 60 FPS on consoles.
I'm gonna wait and see. Me
too.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
There's been a lot of tea spilt. Yeah, me too. Like, there's been a lot of tea spilt about, it's more about the CPU bottleneck than the GPU bottleneck. Okay, we shall see.
Okay, but if I look that they recommend here Ryzen 5 3600, it's like, no, that it can't be the CPU bottleneck that we have in our consoles right now. So,
because if I'm not mistaken, the recommended spec is the Ryzen 5, right?
Yes.
The CPU in the Series S is equivalent to a Ryzen 7.
Yes, exactly.
So what are we talking about here, ladies and gentlemen?
What are we talking about here? Exactly. And it is not a design choice. I hardly dismiss this argument, because if it would be a design choice to have 30 FPS, you would have it locked at 30 on PC as well.
Thank you, Boxenberger. I said this exact thing. Yes. Screw that line of questioning, please.
Exactly. So it is not an artistic choice. Is, I don't know. You have that weird 16:9 aspect ratio in like Hellblade, for instance. That's an artistic choice. That's across all versions the same. Yeah. I don't like the black box when playing a game,
the analogy. The analogy that I made best with the artistic choice, FromSoft. You could play it on PC.
Yes.
You could play it on a toaster. It will be just as hard as it is everywhere, because their difficulty, creative choice. You can't find any other version of it. That's what it is.
Exactly.
And the fact that you can find a 60 or unlimited version of Starfield on anywhere else tells you it's not a design decision, it's a technical limitation.
Exactly. So that is just what goes through my head. And then if you move over to the other topic you brought up, not having DLSS but focusing on FSR, they have been advertising that like hard. Todd Howard himself came out with a little video, and we partnered with AMD to get it up and running. So,
what do you think about that?
I don't think. What do I think? I mean, FSR is cool. It is, especially FSR 2.2 now is a really. Is it on par with DLSS? No, it's not. And it DLSS is just the better technology out there right now.
Technically, it's not even on par with Intel's variant.
With Intel's XeSS, right?
Yeah.
I actually you have to check it out on Baldur's Gate on your Ally. Yeah, and if you can switch back and forth there, and it is really doing a better job. XeSS, I mean, so,
absolutely,
it's still good technology though, so I think it's good that it's supported at least, that we have an upscaling technology. I've always been saying save the resources of your hardware for more important stuff in a game than pure resolution.
Yep.
So that's cool, but I do feel, of course, that a lot of people will try to play this on PC. Bethesda games have always been big on PC, especially with
PC
the modding
first.
community.
Yep, absolutely.
It has always been like PC first, and this time I feel also that a lot of Xbox gamers now have their console gamers have their Xbox console gamers have a PC. When you have the option to play at 60, I feel like a lot of people will prefer that. And let's be real, most gamers do have NVIDIA cards and not AMD cards in their PCs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a fact. And knowing that I have the 3080 right now in my PC, you know, knowing that I won't be able to use and leverage what DLSS has to offer, I get it.
Frame generation, all that stuff. Like, come on, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's terrible. It's unfortunate that they did it this way. But why do you think it's this way? Is it business? What do you think?
Could be a business thing. I mean, Microsoft builds their hardware with AMD
absolutely
in a close partnership, and AMD kind of needs that marketing buff for them right now, because like you said, they are losing. They are when you have the three technologies out there, of course, DLSS is bound to NVIDIA cards, but XeSS is not. It's exactly the same like FSR. It's hardware agnostic. So yeah, they AMD definitely needs the marketing push. So it could be a business thing to not have it at launch. It could also be that for some reason they decided to really, you know, optimize their rendering pipeline for certain technology. It just is a lot more work to put in the different things. If you in your rendering pipeline, if you have to like make use of the tensor cores to be able to run DLSS, it is just extra work to get the vector approach that XeSS took into your rendering pipeline. It could be just that, you know, that the creation engine is a very complicated engine, because the Bethesda games try to do a lot of things with all interactivity and real physics in the game and things like that. Could be that they just chose to, okay, we have.
That's why they kept talking about all the why they. That's what they were trying to say when they said that even if they scaled it down, right, all the various physics engines, physics systems on top of each other would still be so much of an uplift that it wouldn't give you that 60. That's where I'm like, I'll wait and see on that one, right? Because it's
and
like,
if this thing runs on the Ally at 60,
yeah,
we are in for a talk. And I actually have a bet with Wandering Dutch.
Okay.
Because I said, like, the modding community is going to take care of this. You know, there was when the Series X came out and S came out and Skyrim released on those consoles, it literally took the modding community like an hour to patch in the 60 FPS mod. And then like 2 years later or so, Bethesda, or 1.5 years later, Bethesda came out and actually brought out the next gen version of Skyrim. So I expect something very similar to happen here. Maybe not within the first hour, but within the first days, we will get like a 60 FPS mod on consoles.
Exactly.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, me neither. And I think Bethesda knows that, and they're kind of like, you know what? Like, I have a feeling that, okay, and you know the technology well, right? So I love having you here because I want you to challenge me, okay? Hear my analogy, hear where I'm going, and I want you to challenge me on here for our 157 folks that are watching right now. Thank you so much, by the way, for being here, folks. So here's where I want you to challenge me. I say Starfield is a PS5 game on console. Okay, this is why I say challenge me. Now, let me tell you what I mean, and then I need you to challenge me. Okay, so I have said this on this show multiple times, right? And you know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. The development pipelines for the Xbox versus PlayStation are different. Vulkan versus DirectX, right?
Yes.
And so much so that you need to spend time dedicated to each platform in order to get the best out of it. Not even beyond the Vulkan versus DirectX, but Vulkan versus DirectX and Xbox specifically, because the way I describe it is PlayStation puts all of their resources in one jar. Whatever you want to do, they're all there. You can use them, right? Xbox, like a highway, has little HOV lanes. You want to do ray tracing? Here's the core for that. You want to do this? Here's that for that. So you have to use them in order to make them really performant. If you do the same development you do on PlayStation, you lose because your overhead is gone, right? They specifically made it that way so that you would have overhead to hit the higher frame rates, right? So if you don't start developing with Xbox Series S in mind, aka maybe use mesh shaders, aka decide to use the compression blocks as part of your development pipeline, you're by nature inherently building a PlayStation 5 game, because theirs can handle the standard highway method, right? After you are then purchased by Xbox, right? You can't then go delete project and start from scratch, right? You can't do that because you've been layer caking for years and years and years the thing that is now Starfield, right? It spent most of its life as a third-party development, which is AKA the biggest pool, which is what? PlayStation. Yes. So now that it's first party, you don't go back and then implement mesh shaders. Can't be done. Has to be done from authoring from day one. So what you get is the best they can do for now. Although, had they incubated the project from day one as an Xbox product, you would have gotten 60 frames a second on the Series S. No issue. Tell me I'm wrong, sir.
Can't. I would love to, because I always love to argue against something, but I could double down on a couple of points you brought up, because I've been saying something very similar on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, when I said it feels a little bit with Xbox, the Xbox consoles in particular, right now, than what we had on PlayStation during the PS3 days, where they have a very specific architecture. There are a lot of tools in there. Yeah, we've been hearing about this tool story for 2.5 years now, ever since the consoles are out. But the fact of the matter is, will we ever really see mesh shaders fully implemented in such a game, even if it's built from the scratch with Xbox Series consoles in mind? Because all those games will have to run on PC as well. And some of these tools, like I stick with the example of mesh shaders, simply
have
cannot
not been
be
fully implemented on PC yet.
Either, because you have to have certain hardware to support it. And there's a vast majority of PCs out there that do not support this on a hardware level. Now you have to build, it's not just you build your rendering pipeline out and then it is, and now we apply this tool on this. This is not how this stuff works. Mesh shaders is a very complex method in like how your rendering pipeline actually works. So you would basically have to build out 2 different rendering pipelines.
That's right.
And nobody's going to do that.
Well,
hold on. Storage.
Hold on. I will push back on you in one instant. It's not nobody's going to do that. Do you know who's the only one who should be doing that? Microsoft.
Microsoft should
They're
do it,
the
but then they would
only ones.
leave like a big audience on PC.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I say, as a first party, as a, hey, this is our proof of concept, this is the hardware, it is not up to Larian to implement your pipeline. It is up to you, even at your own cost, to implement said pipeline and give us a dual track, the PC variant and the console variant. Why? Because you're the one trying to convince the public that it's worth using, right?
Exactly, and that is the difference right now, like you said, in between PlayStation's architecture and their tools. They have tools as well, by the way, because people
everybody
say,
does.
like, Xbox has the tools. They both have them. But it's the way how this works on Vulkan is a lot more what I like to call brute force. I always take the clock speeds as an example. Very, very simple example that is easily to understand. No developer in the world has to change a single line in its code to make use of higher clock speeds. It's automatically available for you.
That's right.
While on the Xbox side of things, they have a lot more compute units. Yeah. So what you have to do as a developer is to parallelize a lot of your code, yeah, so that it works parallelized on your across all the CUs.
Yep.
It's extra work.
Yes.
And this is what we have right now. And you can take the example of direct storage as well. There's a reason why there are only two games in this world that use the direct storage API.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weirdly Forspoken, which isn't even out on Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it has
Diablo.
Xbox, and Forspoken has Xbox Live achievements on PC.
Right.
That's another little weird nugget in that situation. But yeah,
Square is just weird. But yeah,
you know,
that's the harsh reality.
Absolutely.
That when we look at the way how Microsoft designed their consoles with DirectX 12 and all the suite in APIs in mind, it comes down at the very end of the day to the question: how easy can developers actually implement that in their games, and do they have to do double the work? And then of course install base comes in. Yeah,
Yes.
it is. Yeah, I know Microsoft doesn't care about console sales anymore.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that PlayStation is outselling them 2-1. And if you're a developer, you have a certain budget for development. And you definitely will spend more time optimizing for the bigger audience. And then on the other side, you have a smaller install base.
See what you just described there? What you described there is the reason why I said all except for Fable and Forza games that are coming on Xbox right now tend to be PlayStation games, because they started being developed for the bigger pool, meaning brute force method, meaning
like I said,
none of the tools on Xbox.
Yeah. Like I said, can't argue against that.
Sucks.
And then they made it extra hard for developers by splitting the actual install base also into two machines.
Yes,
yeah,
true.
So it feels like it's the From software of game development when you have to develop for that. You have the small install base, you have two SKUs, and you have a tool set that, for the most part, you can't really use, because then you would leave out a vast majority of the audience on PC, and all those games are built for PC as well. That's the exact thing. So yeah,
my only pushback on that is, it is true that if you mainly focused your development pipeline using the Xbox toolset, 100% you'd be leaving out all the others, right? Which is not the way to go. But there are some offsets, like if you were mesh shader focused, for instance, right? If you were mesh shader focused, there are some offsets that you could use that would still work in a PC context. Might not work in a PS5 context, right? But that's the problem. If you were to go, okay, I'm Larian Studios now, I'm gonna develop using mesh shaders, right? That means you can get it to shine on Xbox. Whoa, great. You can possibly offset, because there are various workarounds, because remember, PC and console development on Xbox are in the purview of Microsoft. So it's almost turnkey developing for both of them, right? So even if you go mesh shaders route, there's a way of making it work on non-supportive hardware on PC. That's not hard. But guess what you would lose out on then? Then you'd be PC, Xbox, where's the PlayStation audience? That's where you'd screw the pooch, right?
Yes.
And just by the nature of business and publisher, if I'm a publisher and you're like, I'm gonna make this thing shine on Xbox, it's gonna be 120 frames, it's gonna be awesome, but the biggest pool in the console space being PlayStation would then get the worst port. It would get the worst port because it would not run using those same tools that Xbox and PC can. That's the reason why the opposite happens all the time, right? So in my humble opinion, it is in Microsoft's best interest to spend the unspendable money that nobody else would, in order to convince the body of our audience to go, look, man, I know it requires a bit of cash, but look what it can do once you do that. Once you convince us, then it's their game to lose, right? Until I see Halo Infinite have a mesh shader update, which it will never do, right? It will always be mud in their eye. Now, the reason why, to bring it on the topic on the screen here, the reason why I bring this up is because it's kind of like becoming that console space where, because of marketing, now you get DLSS or you don't get DLSS, all because of marketing, right? Now it's an AMD game, even though no, it's not. It's not an AMD game. They've just kind of paid to keep it off of to keep other upscaling methods off of it. It's kind of becoming a bit shady in the console space too at this point, right? Because if you recall in the Halo Infinite example, the same thing happened. They kept talking about their partnership with AMD. And then I think eventually DLSS of some kind of variation made its way to Halo Infinite once that 1 year exclusivity talk ran out. But it's kind of...
I'm not even sure if Halo Infinite does support DLSS.
It didn't,
it
right?
Could be.
Yeah, I know that a lot of modders have put it in.
Does.
Yeah. A lot of modders have put it in too as well. But I guess where I'm going with it is, it's unfortunate that in the PC, in the console space, you know, horse armor has become a thing, and exclusivity this and exclusivity that, and now they're trying to find their way into doing the same thing with upscaling technology on PC.
Yeah,
kind of sucks. You know,
kind of sucks.
Yeah, although
there's no reason for developers, by the way, to implement XeSS on console.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Give us the better image quality.
That's right. You know what, Boxenberger? Actually, that's where that's where my hope lies. I want one of these game developer or one of these platform holders or an incumbent or somebody who's unknown to just show up and go, oh, by the way, here's our new console. And what does it have? Intel-based GPU. I would love that. I want to see them compete because I feel like they could give AMD a run for their money at this point. Even in the low end, they seem to be doing better, you know. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the mix.
See, I'm fully with you. It would be... AMD kind of owes the APU space. If you think about it, they have the APUs for Xbox, PlayStation. Most PC handhelds do have it. It is they own that, and
their driver release schedule is terrible for some reason. Even though they own the space, it's just weird. I'm sorry, continue.
It's just weird. Yeah, because they have more or less a monopoly in the APU space. So there's really no. And that's what we need, competition. Competition is always good for us consumers. And I would love to see, because NVIDIA can't really get into the APU space because they don't have the CPUs, you know, but Intel does. So Intel would be an actual competitor in the APU space, and we would have the chance to actually give someone a fair competition to AMD in that space. So I would love to see like a new console, maybe PlayStation or Xbox, to for instance, come out and have like an Intel APU in there and see what
I'm feeling that would shake things up. That's my hope, that it would shake
things up. Exactly.
And they come and they shoot for the moon and they really hit good heights. That Intel AMD monopoly thing it would break that. So, you know, if you're out there, Intel, you know, get your game right. I'm waiting for new hardware from you.
Exactly.
Knowing my luck, it'll be like NetEase or some weird like third party that'll come in and go, here's our console with an Intel processor, you know. But all right.
Yeah, it would be cool.
So let me, you know what? We're about to head to our last story of the day, which I want to talk about with Boxenberger, because he's going to Gamescom and I want to hear about it. I want to hear, you know, what it's like, and I want to talk about it in general. Folks, still over 100 people in here. Thank you so much. Please, if you haven't hit that like button, do so. You know, tell people we're in here. You know, we're rounding the end of our stories, and of course, give Mr. Everborn Saga slander on them Twitter streets because he didn't make it for this day. No, truthfully, he came in very late last night, so I didn't expect him on today's show anyway. You know, he's been doing Mr. Vacation time, so shout out to him. I'm sure he'll be on next week. It's no big deal. But yes, let us switch to our next story, which is Gamescom. But before we do, let me close out this poll here. And the poll was, if you recall, are you worried about Xbox gaming becoming third-class citizens? Why? Because of all the various platforms they're jumping into, notably mobile now, right? And we have 25% of our audience right now saying yes, they are worried about Xbox consoles becoming third-class citizens. 48% say no, they are definitely not worried about it becoming third-class citizens. And 26% of the audience asks me, where is Everborn Saga? Well, he was not here to defend today, So we're definitely going to table this discussion for when he is here to defend. And as such, we will also table the discussion of ABK because we're all still very much in wait mode right now. And
yes, we are.
that gives me an excuse not to talk about it because we're waiting for the news to come proper. Then we can kind of button it all up. And I'm sure Mr. Everborn Saga will love to be a part of that. So I will
you know,
that.
you can use that as a transition or a segue into the next topic because there I've seen the conspiracy theories out there that Phil will come out on stage on opening night live at Gamescom, you know, announcing, okay, deal done.
That is unlikely. I think that's unlikely because there's no way, even though I will not be on the page that says that the CMA can control what the world does, because you know, if the CMA stops it, it'll block every. No, I think that there's more of a mea culpa. There's more of a conversation there. Even the UK recognizes the pressure of everyone agreeing and them not, so they're gonna work with them. But they're not going to be like, okay, well, we're not allowed to announce our findings until Xbox announces it on stage. BS. They will do what their process requires. And if it means announcing it early, it will be announced early because that is a government regulatory body. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
No
my argument was very similar. I said, like, when you look at the last 18, 19 months, the CMA is like very public with their tweets and their website about this entire process. And there is no way in hell that they will withhold information, even if they have come to an agreement by now. If they have so, we would have known, but they would not hold off for Microsoft to use it as a, you know, advertisement, marketing kind of thing.
There is no way on God's green earth that would be. Now, if that were to happen, the best way I would think about it is they somehow were able to fall into a window where they could announce it first. It would have nothing to do with the CMA going, okay, well, we will forego our standard process so you can announce it on stage at a video game show for a bigger headline.
Exactly.
Hell no. That's hilarious to me. But yes, let us move forward and talk about Gamescom proper.
Yes.
Now, my excitement for Gamescom specifically is that, like I said to you before, I think Gamescom and games events in general should have been, and like it's been far too long that it's not been an international conversation, right? And yes, there are those in there who will say to me, oh, it's always been an international conversation. Gamescom is old, so are all these various other shows. True. But I would argue they get runoff information. They don't get the big hitters. They get the, oh, you saw this big thing at E3, and now we'll give you an update to what you saw at E3. And E3 tends to be an American conversation. Now, me being here and me being an international sort, I can say I think that's unfair. Why? Because there are such passionate fans everywhere around the world, right? Just by nature of footprint alone, Gamescom dwarfs E3 like. It's E3's little pebble on its shoe in comparison, people-wise. But for some reason,
they expect 400,000 people this year.
Yes,
that's like
right. But for some reason, the big news comes in LA, and then you get the runoff at Gamescom. The big news should come to Gamescom, right? And the big guys, the Phil Spencers and the Matt Booties, Peaches. Put the Peaches in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put Peaches in the chat for the man. We call it Peaches here. Put the Peaches in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, they are all going to be there at Gamescom, as they should be, because it's a big show, and so should be TGS and any other show that they go to. It's time to let that time of, oh, you know, the big show is in LA and then everybody else gets runoff content. That should go, right? And by and large, they're telegraphing that they're finally doing that now. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it is, you know, the thing is, E3 didn't used to be like a public media thing. E3 started as a trade show where when you were, for instance, a store owner or something, you went there in June to get an idea of what are the big games that I need to put in my storefront this fall. This is how E3 started. Then they opened it up for press. Then a little later they opened it up for like influencers, and then for the public. And so historically, yeah, it made sense that you had like this thing in June. The first time you get the hands on is then in August at like Gamescom, and then a couple of months later the games are out. That's how it used to be, but things are different in this day and age. Yeah, you don't have to announce a game like 6 months in advance because you have to get like your physical advertisements ready and whatnot. You can announce bigger things much closer to launch of a game. I would actually argue that it behooves your game if you do that, because with social media these days, it's hard to keep a hype up over months. Like, people have the attention, and me too, including me, I have the attention span of like 2 weeks. Yeah. So I get excited now for Starfield because I can play it in 2 weeks. But you know, and that's the thing. So I totally do agree. And then, of course, like you said, gaming is such an international thing. It's not just a US thing. It is people play games everywhere in this world. Yeah. And you have the shows you have a Tokyo Games Show. Yeah, you have a Gamescom here for Europe. There's always also Paris Game Show, but it's not the same, really the same size, but
it should be, right? It should be, right? This is the point. And let me be clear. I'll let you continue. I apologize. The reason for my excitement here is not because of Microsoft or Xbox specifically. I'm excited that they're pulling the trigger and starting that, and hopefully then Ubisoft continues and third parties continue. And Nintendo's going to be there, and maybe even Sony starts putting more emphasis in all their various platforms. We need this to be from all of them, right? So please continue. That's why I'm excited about it, you know.
Because PlayStation is like a much more significant brand over here in Europe than I would even argue in the US, honestly, because in the US you can argue, okay, even if they outsell Xbox 2-1, Xbox is still pretty much relevant.
Yeah, from a revenue perspective. Europe, from a revenue perspective in America, they are neck and neck, and sometimes even Microsoft is beating them. But not so in Europe.
It's not the case here in Europe. Like last gen, they outsold Xbox 5-1 here. It looks like it's going to be even bigger this gen. Like 6-1 are the figures that are running run around here right now. And so PlayStation used to be much more present at Gamescom. For some reason, they decided to not even show up. They are the only bigger publisher, by the way, that doesn't show up. Ubisoft is there, EA is there, Take-Two is there, everyone's there. So I'm really excited, not just because I'm going, but that other games show get like some.
I'm not jealous at all, sir. Not at all. Not jealous at all. I swear I was this close to pulling the trigger. I need to come. I have family in Germany. I would have. It would have been great. 2024.
We need to make it happen next year, man.
2024. Absolutely. I've already told my wife we're going because she has family in the Netherlands too. So,
sweet. Yeah, and I mean the Netherlands.
It's right there. I'm gonna take a train.
Like a 1.5 hour train.
Bro, I've done it many times. I could take a train. I used to go clubbing in Germany when I lived in the Netherlands. Yeah. So we will make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Awesome, man. That would be so cool. Yes. So I'm really looking forward to meet like even my co-host Wandering Dutch. I have never met him in person. Yeah. So
excellent.
Gonna do that. Gas is going to be there. John from Xbox Era is gonna be there. Forza Erwin, Xbox Mike, and so on. We're gonna have a blast there. And
I'm jealous,
like you said, Xbox is running their biggest booth ever at Gamescom, and their booth has been pretty big, by the way, so far already. So we know that they have a couple of treats in us for Xbox fans in there. Stalker 2 is going to be playable for the very first time.
Which is unbelievable. Like, I can't believe they hit their deadlines. All the context included. Like, amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Arodimus in the chat says Chess is going to be there as well. That's
true. Jess Corden. Shout out to Jess Corden.
Already talked to him. We're trying to meet up for lunch.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Please, do you know what I want to see? I want to see a whole community together with another X picture because I want the salt to flow. I want everybody to be in the
have
chat
no doubt that
together.
this is going to happen. Yeah, this is definitely going to happen. Especially when you travel with gas, you know that it's going to happen.
You know the sauce master. Absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
I'm so excited to see you what happens at this show. Like where you guys go and all of that.
Yeah.
Have you been? Is this your first year? Have you been before?
I've been before, but
Okay.
that was like I want to say 2018 or 19.
Okay, cool.
Was the last time I went, because obviously then there was the pandemic. I became a father around the time.
Oh, yeah.
Gamescom,
So,
it was 2018, and I became another child, and we had the pandemic, and that's
gaping hole in time that is the pandemic that nobody seems to remember how long it lasted. Yeah, I
it is.
Yes.
So, and last year, actually, I wanted to go last year when it was the first time in physical again. But we already had booked like our family vacation during that period, so wasn't able to do that.
Now, what
and
year?
This time,
do you know what year that Keighley was like the games opening night live? What was the first year they did that? Were you there that first year?
Yes, I was there, and but I didn't get the tickets for the theater. For the opening, unlike this time. So I think it was 2018, if I remember correctly. Okay, so he's been doing it for a while now.
I feel like every year he systematically gets better and better at it. And now you have the big guys come into the show. You have opening night live. It's seeming to be the proper show with the announcements and the big fanfare that we've always been wanting. It looks like it's finally the year for that, right?
Absolutely. And I cannot wait to sit in the theater. This time we actually have theater tickets. Yeah, we're gonna be there in the Access Arena. And I mean, he already teased a couple of really cool things. I cannot wait to see Wukong Black Myth. It's going to be there.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the stuff they've teased. You know, Black Myth Wukong being on the list. Wow, what's going on? I wonder who gets marketing rights. You know, I expected to see this on platforms a long time ago. There was rumor it'd be on Xbox the stage last time they had a show. It didn't happen, right?
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. You know, this is a big game.
Interesting.
You know,
absolutely. Looks beautiful from what we've seen so far, and this is gonna get kind of a re-reveal, is what they teased. Yeah, so cannot wait to see what that game looks now. Yeah, Alan Wake 2, super excited for that. It's gonna be there on stage. Not a big Call of Duty fan, but it's a big deal to have like the gameplay reveal on your stage. You know, Crimson Desert is like that. Came out like only a week ago or so, and I'm really surprised, excited for that one, because they turned it into a single-player RPG now. Yeah, this used to be when development started, it was planned to be an MMO.
Yep.
And they said no, we changed the direction. It's now a single-player game.
Yeah.
Cannot wait.
And the team behind Crimson Desert is not to be messed with, man. They are freaking awesome. Pearl Abyss's engine is freaking amazing. Like, holy crap, what they can do with that engine.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it. They have this game called, what's it called again? It's like something. Well, they have the Black Desert MMO. I know they're doing that.
Yeah.
And they also have this. It's another MMO, which that's the one that I really hope they change and turn that from an MMO into like a proper like single player game. It's called Plan 8. Plan 8. And it looks like the Matrix. Literally looks like the Matrix. Like, and it's an MMO. You have exo suits that you're running around in, and graphically it just blows the wig back. It's amazing. And it's right now only scheduled to be, what is it? It says it's an exo suit MMO shooter. They need to turn that into a single player game. I want to play.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. So then Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty.
Bro, I'm so excited. I have no idea.
Booth. It is kind of weird. They were like, you wanna schedule like an appointment to play test it, and I was like, hell yeah,
hell yes. What?
and then somehow I didn't. We had a little conversation back and forth, and then somehow they stopped replying, and now I'm not sure if I actually have an appointment. But I'll definitely be at the booth.
Yeah. Because I'm there day one, sir. Phantom Liberty, I was a huge Cyberpunk fan. Issues notwithstanding, I think that game is really deserves some respect. It's still doing really good
It
things.
does.
And Phantom Liberty looks to really up the ante. So I'm like, it looks really awesome.
It is a wonderful game. If you
Yeah.
can see past the bugs at launch, honestly, it is a phenomenal game. CD Projekt Red is probably one of my all-time favorite developers, honestly.
So did you hear about this Delta Force thing? Like,
No,
it looks like
have
it's
not.
it's based on the old IP Delta Force, which is like the TV show from like way back in the day, right? And I think I forget the name of the studio that's bringing it back. Like, it's supposed to be a multiplayer, free to play MMO shooter type situation on everything except Xbox. Well, no.
Yeah.
Even on Xbox. I thought it wasn't coming out on Xbox either, but it is. I actually caught the Gumatsu article for it. Let me actually pop that pop that up here real quick so you can see it. Like, and it's based off of the old Delta Force TV show. That's very strange. I feel like somebody went, oh, it looks like Call of Duty is becoming first party for Xbox. It was leaving a gap in the market. Delta Force, that'll be the next one. So now they're putting it on everything, including iOS for some reason and Android. I kind of feel like that's probably bad marketing on your part to announce that in the beginning. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, here's a quick trailer of it.
See.
It looks interesting. You know, they're hitting all the beats you would think that they would hit, right? But it's like another one, you know, another COD killer. We shall see. Hey, they got bows and arrows, which is cool. You know, they're doing interesting things. But yeah, Delta Force. You know,
interesting.
Yeah,
I'll
you know,
definitely
so
keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Let's see if they have a booth, and so we can play test it.
Absolutely, yes, and it's free to play, so it'll be on everything, and you know, they're doing interesting things. So, and then of course, Lords of the Fallen.
Is gonna be It's really cool on stage. A Nightingale is another one I'm really looking forward to.
It's shown really well, hasn't it? It has shown really well, I think. Yeah.
So there's some good stuff on Jeff Keighley's stage, and I think a couple of things I'm obviously missing there. I would be totally surprised if, since Stalker 2 is going to be playable at the event, I would be truly surprised if they don't have a trailer there and announcing the release date.
Yeah, I would imagine as well. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah.
And I can't imagine that the entire, Xbox executives are flying over there and then no one shows up on stage, whether it be Phil himself or Sarah or I don't know, but they will be on stage to some degree. They don't have the biggest booth ever. They have FanFest. We got tickets for that as well, by the way.
Oh boy,
super excited!
You better have your camera with you. I want to see some video footage, man. Y'all gotta record.
Oh yeah, I will. I have absolutely. I will do like a vlog. We'll be posting a lot of stuff. So to bring like the flair and direct hands-on impressions from everything. I booked some extra data volume for so I can actually upload while being at Gamescom,
Absolutely. Excellent. Yes.
So
Aaron says there have to be some surprises. And to Aaron's question there, or to his statement there, what do you think about, like, because remember, every time Xbox comes to these shows, right, they go to TGS and they show you some Asian-based games. Some people consider it pandering, but hey, they're trying to emphasize the regional developers there. Right. So clearly, whatever they announce or whatever they talk about will most likely be with European flair. Right. It has to have some European devs, something like that.
Yes.
What do they have in the pipeline of a European nature that they could probably emphasize? My first thought was like maybe what do you call it? What's the name of Avalanche Studios? The
Avalanche.
Their studio that they were helping them with Contraband.
Contraband. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe that more meat on the bones there. Machine Games.
Machine Games is the one about Wolfenstein 3 or something.
Or Indiana Jones. I don't know about Indiana Jones, but
I don't know.
I would want Wolfenstein. But you are unique here, because please tell me, would they announce a Wolfenstein 3 game in Germany on a German stage? I don't know. That made me go.
Bold. It would be bold to do it,
right?
though. Yeah.
Man.
I wouldn't rule it out. We know that Ninja Theory is also UK, European-based studio.
Yeah, do
we
we
know
see
that
combat?
Melina Jurgens is going to be there. Yeah,
There you go.
the actress
Yeah.
of Senua is going to be there.
So do we see Senua combat for once? Like, shout out to the Wandering Dutch. He's been waiting for that forever. Do we see?
Yes.
Do we see
it?
combat?
Honestly, if they don't show combat, don't show it at all.
Don't show it at all. Exactly.
There's no point in showing anything else, but we need to see actual combat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah. I know it's not really European based, but JRPGs are super popular around here. So I could with the newly announced friendship of Square, I don't know, maybe an Octopath Traveler 2 coming to Game Pass, or maybe even the Final Fantasy VII Remake finally making its way. I don't know. There's so much that they could do.
No, I agree with you, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Keeley like kind of telegraph that, at least on his show anyway, it was more about known commodities and putting more meat on your bones rather than new stuff you haven't heard of before.
Exactly.
So I thought that was pretty interesting, you know. So hence your Black Myth Wukong and all those things, right? So and I do for Mr. Everborn Saga and my Sonic fans, yes, Sonic Superstars will be there. But Sonic Superstars needs all of his help that he can get, because Elephant Tusk Mario does not need any they don't need any marketing, sir. You'll be buying that day one. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know.
True that.
Yeah, I think so. But so and Nintendo, like, do we expect to see Nintendo like in a big way? Like, I know their booth game is really strong. What do you expect?
I don't expect any real new announcements from them. I think like Nintendo, they have already laid out their plan pretty much for this year, but I expect a lot of those games to actually be playable. They, at least like 5 years ago when I was the last time, they had like one of the best booths in the sense of to let people actually play games. You know, sometimes in these, you've been at these shows, right? So a lot of those booths are more like marketing gigs, you know, like gigantic statues over here and photo chants over there and get autographs over there and stuff like that. And then when it comes to the actual game stations, they have like a handful and the lines are like crazy. And Nintendo was like always very well organized with their booths. Not that many big figurines and whatnot, but really like good structure in the actual gaming stations. So it was really relatively easy to play actually the games. So I expect them to be more like that. Honestly, I don't think that Nintendo is going to like announce big things there. They are kind of in this limbo. They wait for the right time to announce the Switch 2, and along with that, the new Mario. And I will think that we will see Metroid Prime 4 being revealed with the Switch 2 reveal. And I don't think that this is going to happen. So
No, I hear you. No, I do agree with you that it would be interesting that they time more their shows to the various shows that they release, like especially Nintendo. Nintendo would be a bigger deal at TGS, I suspect, and I see Mrs. Joanna Dark also seemingly agreeing that anything Square on Xbox's side will probably play better at TGS. Although, oddly enough, we're already seeing that, you know, Atlas will have Persona 3 Reloaded playable on the stage, right? So it is definitely not just your European fare. They're definitely talking about all the various games that they're going to be there.
Again, Japanese games are popular around here.
Yeah, huge in various European countries. Absolutely. Right?
Exactly. So, I'm a fan, but I'm not a particular fan of Persona. So I always forget that. Of course, there's this entire slide of Persona games coming now also to Xbox, and since I have zero interest in them, it's like
have you tried a Persona before?
But you're right.
I try it and then I fall off.
It's like absolutely not for me.
It's a job, right? It's a job.
It's a job, and it's not gaming is for everyone. So
But see, but to your point about so many games coming out on so many different
Yeah.
stages of people coming out. Now, like everybody, the Telegraph, Bandai
And then
Namco,
Namco's gonna
you
be
know,
the
yes, they've already
Armored
started showing
Core
off the
6,
Armored
yeah,
Core
yeah,
stuff. You know, absolutely. They've started showing off a bunch of their interesting stuff that's coming on. Tekken 8, I expect will be there. You know what I mean? Tekken 8's gonna be big and massive. So, yeah, man. Like, well, I wanna end this conversation and end our show here. But before we do,
one last publisher I want to mention, or development studio.
Yes.
They are listed in the official list, but we haven't heard anything. Is Crytek? They are German based.
Yes,
it's a German
absolutely
studio.
With the CryEngine, yes.
And they are listed to
be there
on the Gamescom page. We have no idea in what shape or form, but that'd be like a total surprise if they have a proper booth and show off one of the 3 IPs that they apparently work on. We only know about Crysis. Still hoping for Rise to make a comeback, and whatever the third is.
Wasn't there rumor and conversation either early this year or late last year from Rise, from Crytek, where they were using Rise footage, Rise imagery to do like hiring? They had literally some of the characters from Rise, Son of Rome in the pages while they were suggesting that maybe they were working more in that lineage. If they are there, they have to announce something. What will it be? I would be so excited if it was Rise 2. That would be so cool.
Me too, man.
Right?
Me too.
But you wouldn't put it past Microsoft to now be doing those things, because it seems like all those things that people have been talking about, they are now in the background going, okay, we heard them. Go ahead, green light that Killer Instinct. Okay, we heard them. Where's the Burden Bear? You know, all that stuff. They're doing that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if out of nowhere you go, oh, by the way, CryEngine and Booyah console launch exclusive, possibly.
Definitely.
You know, hey, here's Rise Son of Rome 2. You know, or a Crisis collection, which they've been working on for some time as well. You know, I personally think that they are the studio with an engine that deserves far more respect and far more attention than they get. They are geniuses.
The Crytek engine is insane.
Yes,
it's insanely good.
They are the only studio that have been credited with putting ray tracing, even though it's software based, on last gen Xbox One.
Yes,
on toaster hardware. How can you do that?
And they did it. Has ray tracing.
It's on OG Xbox One, like nuts. You know, One X, I think, but still. You know, you know. So I think they're waiting for their funding or the final more reliability and funding to then really come out with an excellent game that's like awesome, that will really show people how to respect them, the respect that they deserve, right? They've been
struggling financially for a long time. Actually, the German government jumped in and to actually save the studio. So it's always, when people talk about acquisitions, it's like, to me, it's crazy that nobody picked them up, because they have insane tech. They have like huge nostalgia when it comes to IPs with Crysis and others. And it's,
See,
I totally
you know,
agree.
oddly enough, do you know that I wouldn't like someone like Microsoft to acquire them? Because Microsoft has so many engines they don't use in favor of Unreal Engine 5 and 4. Right? To me, like, they could have done well with being acquired by somebody like CDPR. Because CDPR was getting away from their own engine anyway. Imagine CDPR honing around Crysis, the Crytek engine. Right? Because CDPR is as good. Because CDPR in Poland is as good, is at that pedigree as Crytek is. They are like geniuses at their own engines. They're geniuses at being able to achieve things. Imagine if Crytek, if CDPR saw Crytek in struggling and added them and made them, you know, CDPR Germany, right? And then we'll take your engine and make the next game. That'll be the engine. Like, wow, it would be awesome. Like, what?
That would be really, really awesome.
You know, because Microsoft, they'd buy them, they'd be great, but they'd probably mothball the engine. You'd probably end up having to use Unreal Engine because everybody does, you know. I mean, what have they done with all the various great engines they have still in-house? Like, most of them are still dormant. You know,
I totally agree. I don't
they
get
bought
it. Why
id, and I'm like,
they,
where's id Tech? Yay! And,
exactly. It would be like the obvious thing to do, like let Halo run on it, or I don't know. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I for one, I'm still holding out hope that Crytek will land on their feet and get a good publisher or get a good purchasing partner who will use them correctly to make them shine. Because I think that Microsoft right now may not be the best there. But okay. So chat, we've had a great show. I was holding out hope for Mr. Everborn Saga, but again, the man came from vacation literally yesterday, so I can understand if he needs a minute of recouping time and all of that. So shout out to him. Let him know that we missed him on the show. You know, welcome him back to the States, and we'll definitely see him on next week's show. But we held it down without Everborn Bloviator, Sega lover. Screw that. We was here, and we had a fantastic show with Mr. Boxenberger from the world of gaming. Thank you so much, sir, for lending your views, for lending your amazing thoughts to our channel. I know you're going to be at Gamescom. We're going to be keeping an eye on your channel, keeping an eye on your X account. Man, I hate calling it that. Tell the people where they can keep up with all your stuff.
Yeah, people can first, before I tell that, I need to say a big thank you for the invite, man. I had a blast, so I hope I can be back sometime.
Brother, you are always welcome.
It was an absolute blast. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, people can find me everywhere on the Boxenberger, on X or Twitter. I will always call it Twitter.
Twitter, thank you.
And of course on YouTube, on TikTok, on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam. It's everywhere, Boxenberger. So very easy that, and definitely if you want to get a first-hand impression of Gamescom, I will upload like a lot of shorts and stuff on the YouTube channel to like bring the Gamescom flair to everyone that cannot join and get like really the hands-on impressions out there. We will definitely do a live podcast for World of Gaming from Gamescom. Wandering Dutch, my co-host, is going to be there. We will have John and Gas as well. John from Xbox Era and Gas will be there, and we intend to do next Thursday evening a podcast live from the show floor. So that will definitely gonna be an awesome thing to talk about all the hands-on impressions that we had. So yeah, if you're interested in some Gamescom coverage, definitely make sure to follow me over on YouTube. And other than that, yeah, we will be back after the Gamescom week then with our regular shows and stuff. So yeah, Asante, thanks again for having me. It's been an absolute honor to be on here, and yeah, keep it on.
I appreciate you being here, sir. It's always great to be able to listen to your takes. Like I said, I love that international perspective. It may not be, certain things may not be the way they are here, but I always like hearing the perspective from trusted voices from all around the world. So thank you so much for being here, and please follow this man. Make sure you're followed. Make sure that the notifications are on, because boy, it sounds like Gamescom is gonna be one for the books, and this man will be there live, direct, show floor access, podcast. All your favorite podcasters, all the friends of the show that have been on this channel will be on there as well, and they will give you great content. I am looking forward to it. I'm very jealous. I wish I could have gone this year. I should have hitched my wagon to Gamescom and not E3, because E3 let me down. Next year I'll do it, definitely, for sure. But no, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all the great people that showed up in the chat. Ron, I see you in there. BitCloud Gaming, salute to you, good sir. Thank you for coming and checking us out. We're about due for having BitCloud back on these air. It's always good to have great folks in the chat, great folks in the community we can talk about and give us some of that PlayStation perspective, because I'm looking to know what's coming out in 2024 from PlayStation. We spend a lot of time on these streets talking about Xbox and all that, but it'd be good to know, and like I said, trusted voices, right? Trusted voices. BitCloud Gaming. Salute to you.
Shout out to BitCloud. He is fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And all the other great members of our community who are in here. Again, This is just the beginning of the weekend. I'm sure the Living Split Screen guys are out there. They just hit 1,000 subscribers, so salute to them. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Right? Go check them out. Let them know we sent you. As soon as my show notes are done, you know, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be watching their show as well. So until next week, give Everborn some slander on Twitter because he deserves it. Tell him that Sonic is not better than Mario because he knows it. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Nice to be in orbit.